Welcome to the Reynolds 853 Genesis Equilibrium, size 54, full steel frame, no carbon fork here, everything's in 853. And my main concerns initially, there's no rack fixing point here, so I'm going to have to hack that in some way, either with a seat collar or P-clips or something. Like I say, no carbon fork, no tapered steerer, classic steel frame. So the frame without a fork is 2.05 kilos. See that? Fork weighs 0.82 kilograms. So together, frame and fork comes in at 2.87 kilos, which for a steel frame, steel fork, it's not too bad. My first impressions of the frame, it feels pretty light. It feels more like the weight of an aluminium frame than steel, so that's pretty exciting. The fork is less impressive by weight. It feels like a very solid steel fork. So yeah, the jury's still out on the fork. I don't know. I don't really want to switch to a carbon fork because I quite like the idea of keeping it purist steel, better for touring, and just more resilient, more robust all round. But I just love the flickiness of a carbon fork. I love the feel of the handling, but we'll see. It'll be easy enough to change, and it should be easy enough to get hold of a carbon fork that'll suit the headset that I'm using. So the first job is going to be to fit the fork to the frame. I've got a Cane Creek headset. It's not a 40, it's a Cane Creek 10. You get the robustness pretty much of a 40, just without the price. To fit the fork, we've just got the stem. This is not necessarily going to be the final stem, but it's just a 100mm specialised one that I had knocking around. So I'll use that today. I've got some spacers, various sizes, and got the headset itself, top, bottom, and the star-shaped nut. Now to get the headset into the head tube, what you're supposed to use is a bearing pusher. So what I mean is you've got to get that. You've got to get the bottom of that. Let me just try and focus the camera there. Down into the head tube. But you can see they've put a little lip on there, so you're supposed to use a bearing pusher to get that down. So because I don't have a proper bearing pusher, I'm going to use an old suspension spring compressor tool, which is one of these, and it's got two of these things on each end, and I'm hoping I can use that instead. Let's put that through there, that at the top, that at the bottom, and then that will screw underneath and then screw towards it. So just putting the rest of the components together, adding a bit of grease to all the joints, putting the fork up into the headset, into the head tube, and fitting on the top race. Could probably do with this steerer being cut down, but for now we're just going to space it out, put the stem in, and put the top nut in, and tighten up the stem. Doesn't matter if it's not super straight. This isn't the stem that we're going to use. This is just to hold everything in place for now. Just checking now that everything spins nice and smooth and that the bearing is properly seated.